Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. On today's episode, we've actually already recorded it, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about it before we get started, and it is with Dennis Oakley, the president of Bruce Oakley Incorporated, and Benny Weatherford, vice president of Oakley Trucking, and I actually got them to sit down with me in here and talk about their career, the early days of Bruce Oakley, when Bruce got it going, and what they remember about that.
How much that cost you?
And how much did that cost you? It was tough to get them settled down. To get them in here was a challenge in itself. But man, it was such a good conversation to hear stuff that nobody knows. They know it, but nobody else knows it. And it was just so nice to be able to get them to talk a little bit about it. And we discussed a lot of different things, and we're going to hopefully continue this. This will be like part one, and we're going to continue this on down the road because, as soon as we got out of here, they said, "Oh man, we should have talked about this, should have talked about that," and that's really good. And hopefully they'll want to come back and talk a little bit more. But these guys are they're so humble, they're so down to earth. They don't want any spotlight. They don't.
You couldn't recognize them if you saw them on the street.
No, and it was a challenge just to get them to sit down here. But I'm so glad they did, and because people want to hear that kind of stuff. So we're going to play that here in a minute. But first, we got a few things we need to do. Of course, Megan. I guess I need to apologize because I did that while you. I didn't get in on that one.
I heard about it as soon as I got back from lunch.
Yeah, didn't get you in on that one, but I don't know if these are already played yet, but I was on vacation and you did a couple of pods.
Maybe those.
How did that go?
We might save those for the archives. I don't know.
You don't know if they made the cut yet.
Well, it's just you get comfortable in here, and then whenever it's just you. And you're leading the conversation. That's a whole different ballgame, which is strange because I love to talk.
I bet you did a good job, though.
We'll see. Who knows?
I bet you did good.
We'll see.
What's going on with Megan Cummins? Everything good? How about Ronnie and Judy? They doing good?
Ronnie and Judy are good. Just cats are good.
Okay.
I would like to redact my initial weekend statement because I was watching the podcast back over, and I think I said I like to nap. That's what I like to do on the weekends. I do stuff on the weekends. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
Napping's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a luxury. Yeah. But I do get out of the house occasionally. I'm not a total hermit crab. So I just wanted to.
Nobody thought that. Tell us about the big story right now that's going on is the 2290s that we sent out an email, and we probably shocked a few owner-operators.
A little bit, yeah.
But you're getting some phone calls because basically the owner, just to kind of explain this, and you might have already done this with some of them, but so all the owner-operators, you're responsible for getting a copy of your 2290 to us, whereas in the past Wendy and Megan have always helped you, maybe done it for you, or call them and with a debit card and a credit card and pay for it, and they go in the website and all that. Well, I'm sorry to say that's not going to happen this year. We've just got we got 920 owner operators. It's just not feasible for two of them to do everybody's 2290, but you've made it pretty simple.
Yes.
How?
Yes. Okay. So we've partnered. I guess we have a partnership with Express Truck Tax. So we've got our own URL, and it is www.bruceoakley2290.com. So if you log on to that website, it's the same thing as Express Truck Tax. It's just our affiliate link. So after you pay it, it'll send it directly to us. You'll still get that. I think it's 10% discount on the service charge for using the website. So instead of $14.99, it's $13.41 or something like that. But the real reason we like for you to use that URL is you don't have to worry about it. As soon as you click submit, it'll send it straight to us. So that really cuts out on a lot of the work afterwards. You don't have to worry about emailing it separately or anything like that. But
so the biggest obstacle with the owner operator is probably going to be the sign in, create
Yes.
a password or something like that.
Yeah, and if we helped you pay your $22.90 whenever you lease on, we'll either create a login with your email that you use for our communication. So there's forgot password links that you can use if it doesn't let you log in, or one-time codes to let you get in that way. And then after that, I was talking to somebody the other day. It's really pretty easy. Most of your truck information, if we've helped you in the past, your truck information's already in there, your bank account information's already in there. You just have to go, follow the steps.
Follow the steps. Yeah. I mean, it's something they're just gonna have to take time to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I did mean to mention this.
What?
So, when you're filing your 2290, make sure you file it in the category V, and that's the heavy unit number or letter code.
Okay.
For the 2290.
V.
Yes, V for Victor.
Victory.
Yes,
Okay.
and victory. Yes, that too.
2290s.
It's super simple.
You are responsible for getting that done, owner operator. So when can they start paying that?
I believe you can start prepaying it now. If you want to get in the website and just take a look, kind of get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You can pre-file. I know for sure you can pre-file June 1st, but they might have already opened pre-filing for 24 to 25. But anytime after July 1st will be actual filing. So you should be able to file your 2290 and see that deduction from your bank account that same day.
Okay. So I hope that's clear. No settlement deduction, no Oakley paying it for you. I mean, you're gonna have to get it done, which is pretty simple. Speaking of a little bit of that, what about our listeners? How can they spread the word about Oakley, the Oakley Podcast?
On my lunch break today, I was flipping through my TikTok. Do you have a TikTok?
I do not.
Oh my God. Okay. That's
Do I?
probably a good.
Okay.
You have an Oakley? No. I swear. I could sit. That's what I do on the weekends. That's what I should have said.
TikTok?
I spend 8 hours straight on TikTok.
You do not.
It's so awful. Anyways, what I brought that up to say was, our TikTok is pretty banging.
Is it?
It is so. I was giggling to myself in my car, which is, that's a pretty big deal. TikTok, YouTube. I've got Ronnie and Judy on the YouTube. She's asking, when the new episodes are.
Right.
Yeah. And obviously Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've kind of restricted the group Facebook page lately, haven't they? So you have to request to join.
I don't know.
Well,
But
I see a lot of really helpful posts on the community Facebook page.
And that's the best way to get the Oakley Podcast out there, is for everybody to share this stuff and comment on the YouTube channel, the Facebook, the TikToks.
Come into the office. Tell us you want to be on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Always
too.
looking for guests.
But we're always looking, wanting to spread the word about the Oakley Podcast, and we do that through you listeners out there. I mean, y'all are our advertisers, and that's how we want to get the word out. And we appreciate all you do. Just try to take that time to share it with a friend, or leave a comment or something like that. That helps a lot, of course. Also, one other thing here to wrap up this intro is I wanted to talk about our sponsor, Aero Truck Sales. These guys, they've been a part of the Oakley Podcast, and of course, since it started, but they've been a part of Oakley with us for years. 15 plus years that we've dealt with these guys at Aero Truck Sales out of Springfield, and you probably deal with Keith some, and
Keith,
I know you met him several times, and it's just
Keith and Amy.
Yeah. Amy does the paperwork.
Yes.
How easy does Amy make the paperwork?
Oh my
process?
gosh, that's my favorite. Whenever I'm covering for Wendy, I'm taking care of the orientation guys for the next week, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's buying a truck from Aero." I'm like, "Oh, thank God, my sweet Amy's gonna come to the rescue." She just makes everything so easy.
Yeah,
they all do.
They do, and that's a big deal because. The example, like right now, we had a guy buy a truck somewhere else, and they can't find his title.
Oh.
So he's scheduled to come to orientation. They don't have the title. He's in a panic. He's ready to go to work, bought this truck. Payments coming due, and they ain't got the title. and we got to have it to get a tag for him.
Yeah.
So it's that's something you don't have to worry about when you go with aerial truck sales. I mean, it just works out to be so smooth. I've had, I've always talked about, Trey and Keith and Amy being so good with our owner operators after the sale.
Yes.
And that's what makes a difference with Aero is because, well, just like you buy a used truck, and anybody that's ever bought a used truck knows that when you get in it and take off driving,
that's it.
You're gonna, that's right. That's it with most people. But you're gonna find something wrong with it. You can drive it a few times and you're like, man, that noise, something wrong. This light came on. This don't feel right. You just don't know, and that's the best part. We've had it happen. Guys buy the truck up at Springfield at Aero. On their drive down, they realize air's not blowing cold, light came on, something. And you know what most truck dealers would tell you about that?
As is
on your own.
Yep.
We call Keith. You know what Keith says?
Bring it back up here?
No, he says get it in the shop down there. We'll take care of it. Not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we use them so much is because they don't leave the owner operator hung out to dry on his first day, first week. So it makes a big difference. And I can't say enough about our sponsor, Aerial Truck Sales. And if you guys need a good used truck, check them out, Trey and Keith up there at Springfield, Missouri, and they will definitely take care of you. All right, Megan, let's get started on this little podcast with Dennis Oakley. Big deal. Dennis Oakley and Benny Weatherford.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Thanks. I got a feeling you're going to love this microphone before it's all said and done.
I got my buddy here. He handle all my light work.
How'd y'all become buddies? What I'd like to know.
Oh, I don't know.
We didn't start out buddies.
Why not?
Well, been kind of hard to work for there for a while.
Oh, you don't. I wasn't either.
So you worked for him when you started with your dad, or what? How'd that work out?
Well, I started at the farm, and then when I went full time, I went to BB.
Yeah.
And you was running the place at BB, or he was working for you?
Yeah, Benny was running the place.
Well, we was working together.
No, Benny was running it. And I was working there.
How old?
No, I was still in school when you handed me that pickaxe.
Oh yeah, you was in school for a long time. You was even in school when you come back and started hauling, had that old bob truck hauling fertilizer.
Right.
You still in school.
Yeah.
You keep all the women out of that old bob truck. You was hauling pastures around.
Hauled a little of them around. That made the drive a lot better.
Made the trip better.
Let's go today. We're going to haul some bag fertilizer.
Get in.
He had no
I was a romantic kind of guy.
He had no international bob truck. And he'd load that thing down with bag fertilizer and off they'd take. Yeah, he was in the trucking business.
How old were you then?
I must have been, 16, 17.
Yeah, not any older than that.
Something like that.
So that's when you started working full time at BB, or when you
No,
got
that was just summers.
Okay.
When I graduated high school in '82, I went full time.
At BB, working with you.
With me.
For me.
What was going on at BB at that time?
Oh, well, at that time, start out with Jeremy I went to work in 78, 1st February 78. Back then, Bruce had purchased the property down here and started the dirt work, so we only had that location and the other location out at El Paso. But back then there was quite a bit of farming going on up there, and we bought a lot of grain, bought a lot of soybeans, a lot of wheat. We were starting to bag some fertilizer. We cleaned and bagged a lot of seed. And then...
Yeah, I was working for you.
Because that's what you were doing?
Yeah. We had to stack them soybean seed and everything. He made us stack them plumb to the roof up along, and he'd come out there and look up. He'd say, "Boys, I think you can get one more layer in there." And we had to get on our bellies and drag them bags to get them stacked in there. Of course, I don't know if Benny knew it or not, but it was hot.
I knew it. I'd been out there.
You hadn't never been up there.
But I don't like to get off the ground.
I didn't know that for years.
So anyway, we're bagging seed, buying wheat, and then the farmers would come in, and we sold a lot of buggy loads of fertilizer. So they'd come in and get hooked up to a buggy, and we'd had a blender while it was an old concrete mixer, and we'd take the nitrogen, the phosphate, and the potash, and blend it together and make whatever plant food they wanted, and then we put a lot of chemical on it. We put a lot of Treflan, Basgran, that kind of stuff. We'd stand up there and just pour it on there and blend it, and then they'd go out to the field, spread it. And then we were running spreader trucks too. So we had 2 or 3 spreader trucks that stayed busy when fertilizer season, during farming season.
And I guess this is when Bruce was there every day.
A lot. He was back and forth down here, kind of overseeing the construction.
Because developing this down here.
Yeah, but he's down there a lot. Yeah. And then back then we spread a lot of lime too. We would, and most of the time we'd do that on the weekends. He would get people to haul lime in, and then on the weekends, then we'd go spread lime.
How did you get a job with Bruce?
Well, so I was raised in an old grocery store, and Daddy sold the grocery store out, so I had to get a job, but I had a little money saved up, so I got to helping a good friend of mine farm. His name was Don Griffin, that actually came and worked for us for a while. But anyway, I'd go out there and help him, and I would go, he'd send me up to BB to get seed. You want 50 sacks of feed. Well, you'd back up there to get the seed, and they would throw it on there, and you might get 40 or you might get 80. You didn't know what you was going to get. So and I was in the JCs with a bunch of boys. There was Mike Fisher, which was working for Bruce, and some other guys, and we were out at a beer joint drinking one night, and I told Mike, I said, "Mike, you need to get you some help down there that can count." And he said, "Well, would you like to have a job?" And I said, "Well, I can count."
It's the only requirement.
And he said, "You'll be there 1st of February. So 1st of February, 1978 is when I started. Yeah. So that's how you got hired. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I guess tell me about Bruce. I mean, Dennis, you, of course, grew up with him. He raised you. I mean, how, a lot of people don't know a lot about Bruce. And I think the more we can understand that, I think helps a little bit. Because obviously he did a heck of a job, and I mean, he's a smart man. And I know Benny worked with him a long time too.
Oh yeah, well, he, the first thing I know that he did was drive a milk truck and pick up milk. I guess he picked it up from your dad.
Yeah, years ago out there in that community, Jeremy, there was a little dairy barn that people probably milked 35, 40 cows. And back then they didn't have pipeline milkers. They put them in old stainless steel milk cans and put them in a water cooler. And then on a certain day of the week, they'd take them out, and there was an old dock out there, and everybody would take their milk out there and set it on the dock. And they had their name on the cans. Bruce worked for a company called Campa and drove an old bob truck, and he'd come by and pick the milk cans up and bring it to Little Rock.
Worked for a guy named Dave Parr.
Sure did, Dave Parr. Yeah.
Dave, I was selling firewood. I'd haul bag fertilizer in the spring, and then I'd cut and sell firewood while school was going on. And we'd haul it down here to Little Rock, sell it door to door.
No kidding.
And I knocked on the door, or actually my buddy knocked on the door. I had a business card. He gave it to him, and he told me to come up there, and it was that Dave Parr that Dad used to work for. So he bought 3 ricks of wood from me.
That was a good day,
It
wasn't
was a
it?
good day.
You know, Jeremy, even back before that, I think I'm right about this. Bruce quit school when he was in the 10th grade.
Yeah.
10th grade and joined the Navy.
Right.
And I don't know how long he was in the Navy. And you correct me, Dennis, I don't know.
I don't know if he went right when he quit school or not. I don't. But it was shortly thereafter, if it wasn't. I think he was in the Navy 4 years.
And then tell him about the San Diego thing.
Yeah, then he got out and he started Locker Club. That's where I think the sailors could leave their civilian clothes and have clothes to wear when they got off the ship, and then he sold.
And he rented them blockers.
Rented them lockers, yeah.
Huh.
And then he sold stuff in there too. He sold wedding rings and
Popular item back then.
suits and, yeah. A little bit of everything.
So he was out in San Diego for a little while then.
Yeah.
And then made his way back to El Paso because that's where he grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Until he went to the Navy, I guess.
In fact, he hitchhiked a few times from California here. He said if you had your uniform on back in those days, it wasn't any trouble to get a ride. They'd stop and get you.
Hitchhiking was popular back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not for sure, Dennis, when he come back, is that when he started driving a milk truck? Or
No, he did the milk truck before that.
before it?
Yeah. He must have he started driving a milk truck, I guess, when he quit school.
And he washed windows sometime too.
Washed windows. And I guess he joined the Navy after he was driving the milk truck for a while.
Okay, yeah.
So he came back and started the BB business.
No, he bought the farm out there at El Paso, Arkansas, and he was raised cattle for a while. And that's actually when I started working for him, because he let me drive the tractor while he was throwing hay out.
Okay.
So that was, but and then grain prices shot up. He started farming, and then he was having trouble himself, I think, getting lime spread, and everybody was having trouble doing it. And so he bought a Mack truck, a front end loader, and a spreader truck. That's really when things started. He started spreading lime for people.
So he run up there and get the lime, bring it back.
He'd go up to
Spread it.
Batesville.
Go up to Batesville and get his lime, come back, start spreading it for his neighbors or whoever needed it, I guess. And then ran into, I guess the demand needed more different stuff, and it led to the location.
Part of it.
Yeah, in BB.
Well, he kind of got in the fertilizer thing. So back then there was still quite a bit of bag fertilizer used, and bulk fertilizer was just getting started. And Bruce, I guess he could see business growing, and he wanted to get somewhere where there was rail, so he could get in rail cars, and that's when he went to BB and put rail in there so he could bring rail cars of fertilizer in and offload it and then sell it. But I'm not for sure actually when he started there at BB. Are you, Dennis?
I think it was 68.
Was it 68?
Yeah.
And do you remember him buying this place down here, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that had to be a huge step for him.
Yeah. Yes, I had known Bruce. We were all raised out in the same community. Now, Bruce was a lot older than I was, but I knew him and his daddy. Bruce built the thing. I remember him building it down there. And they got going, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And he bought this property down here. They were buying.
What year was that? I don't remember what year it was.
It was, Dennis, they were doing the dirt work and starting on the fertilizer building in the spring of '78.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he bought the property, because I went with him to the real estate lady, and when I was working for you at BB, I was getting to clean out the grain pit.
Yeah.
And I was in the car, and we pulled up to the real estate lady's office, and she come out, and he told me to stay in the car because I stunk. And the lady come out, and she's like, "Tell that boy to come in. Tell that boy to come in." She said, No, ma'am, he stinks.
Well, you always did. I gave you the easiest jobs.
Yeah, that was a dandy. I love that job.
So where were we, Jeremy? I don't even know what we were talking
So he
about.
bought the property down here.
Yes. Yeah. We were buying quite a bit of grain at BB. And Southern Cotton Oil was over here, so we'd buy the grain from the farmer. We'd haul it down here, or we'd haul it to Bungay to Augusta. And then sometime during that, he had loaded some barges out somewhere down here on the river. And anyway, he knew that he probably needed to get somewhere on the river so he could barge his grain out and barge the fertilizer in.
Man,
Would you say that's right, Dennis?
Yeah.
What a smart decision back then. Looking now, how big
Well,
that
was a
was.
pretty
It was a big deal.
big step for him. Because he always told me, you never bet the farm. But I built that house out there at El Paso in,
I don't remember then.
I don't know, late 90s, early 90s.
Early days, yeah.
And then I sold it in 2000. And he had just let me build a house on the farm out there. I never checked anything. I just built the house. And anyway, I found out when I sold the house that it had a mortgage on it. So he did bet the farm on this. But that worked out.
Yeah. That's a big step to be able to do this for sure. I mean, to get this down here and buy that, 20 acres, I'm sure was a big step for him back then. And then all the money you had to put into it, I'm sure you had to put a bunch into it.
Well, Jeremy, the original land, we didn't have this over here where we're at now.
Right.
It was just pretty much a straight shot. We didn't have this here, and we didn't have that over on the east side over there either. And I think prior to buying the land, he knew he was going to have to get a permit from the Corps, and he struggled with that. There was a lot of politics involved in that, and there were some people that didn't want him down here on the river.
Mm.
But he finally got his permit, and I assume that's what he started building. I don't know whether he waited to get the permit or just started building.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that could have gone either way with him.
Yeah. He's going to get it somehow.
Yeah.
How was it working for Bruce? I mean, both of y'all did for a long time.
It's good and it could be bad.
Just depends on the day.
Right.
Bruce is kind of like a second dad to me. You always wanted to please him, and he was easy to work for. But when he told you to do something, you done it.
Did you learn that the hard way, or?
Well, your dad could talk to you, get you straightened out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But Bruce was just a super nice man, and he instilled it in Dennis and me too, that, if you told somebody you was going to do something, you done it. You give me word and you stuck by it. But he was easy to get along with. And he's very focused. I mean, he knew where he wanted to carry the company, and he drove it that way.
How about you, Dennis? What do you remember most about working for your dad?
I always we enjoyed working together. I mean, we disagreed sometimes, but most of the time it was just when I was doing something stupid.
Right.
But,
He'd let you know.
Which was a whole lot of times.
I'm not even going to argue that sometimes.
Oh, me.
But no, we enjoyed working together.
Sometimes, father and son working together don't go very well.
Yeah, we had a few moments here and there, but
Yeah.
He just had a way of letting you know what you better be doing.
When did he let you know you were coming along and being more part of the company and running it? I mean, was that slow or was that pretty quick?
That was slow. Hell, I didn't even know when it happened.
He didn't tell you?
No. No. I was running BB. I run BB for 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got sick. And I was really just getting where I enjoyed running BB because I got my feet on the ground, had the crew, and
Getting comfortable.
And then he pulled up down there and told me to get in his car and told me I was coming to Little Rock. Oh. So, anyway.
That's how it took place.
I was getting a little more involved right in there, I guess.
Yeah.
What year was that, Dennis, that Bruce got sick?
I don't remember. It would have been mid-'80s.
Late 80s, probably, early 90s. Bruce had got cancer up in his nasal passage. And anyway, it was a serious deal. They didn't give him much hope. And
It was actually in his brain.
was it held up his brain?
cancer,
Yeah. So they that's when Dennis got more involved in the North Little Rock thing. I think I'm right about that. In about that time that he got him down here and started in, and then
You were already down here, Benny,
I was.
at North Little Rock.
Yeah, I had worked at BB 4 years, 5 years. We had bought some property up at Marlton, built a grain tank up there, had hired a guy, and the guy we hired hadn't had any experience in grain, so I went up there and worked through wheat season, and then I came down here. So I guess that would have been in 82, 83, somewhere along in there.
Well, when did talk about the beginning of the trucking? When did that? I mean, I guess it started when he started it and bought a bob truck and a spreader and all that. But when did you start? Did you have any company trucks in the beginning, or did you just start with owner operator?
Yeah.
We had
3 or 4.
We had 2 old R model Macs and a cab over Mac, and we delivered fertilizer around to a few customers down here and around locally. Really, we didn't get that far off, but
Did y'all drive the truck?
oh yeah, anybody could drive old Mac.
Yeah.
So we during the grain season, we had to hire trucks to come in and haul the grain off. We couldn't haul it off fast enough, and there were some guys that were hauling for us, and I think they had some pretty nice trucks, and I think they were actually pulling our trailers. But anyway, they talked Bruce into just leasing on with him, and that's how it got started.
Okay.
There was 3 of them.
And that was probably late 80s, something like that?
No, earlier
Y'all were
than
doing that.
Yeah, it was
Early.
earlier than that. It was probably, I'm going to say 85, 86, maybe.
I think it was earlier than that, man,
Could-
because I graduated in 82
Okay.
from high school, and it was going on then.
Was
You
it?
had
Okay.
Kilroy was working there, and
Mm-hmm.
Gillum,
Yeah, that was a little later on. The first 3,
Mark Cronk.
yeah, that was in that old picture we got.
Yeah.
Prior to that, Dennis, there was 3 of them. There's a boy from down here at Benton. There was a guy from BB and some other guy. But anyway, that's how it got started. And then we started buying trailers and leasing trucks. So
And y'all, I mean, was that something y'all did together, or you was pretty much, Bruce said you're doing the trucking, Benny, or was Bruce doing it?
no,
Oh, actually, you started out trading soybean meal, didn't you?
I did. When I come from
To Little
Bar-
Rock.
from Barlton to Little Rock, I started trading soybean meal and soybeans. And I wasn't very successful at that. So in the meantime, while I was doing that, there was a guy that had leased on with us, and he wanted to get off the road, so I think we had 10, 11, 12 trucks, and he wanted to run the trucks, so Bruce let him run the trucks. Well, that went on for a while, and then he wanted to get back in a truck. So when he got back in the truck, Bruce said, I think you would do better in trucking than you are in trading soybean meal and soybeans. And I said, yes, sir. I think I will. So when I took it over, I think we had 12 trucks.
Yeah.
There were 12 trucks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And here we are now.
And here we are now.
How in the world do we go from 10 or 12 trucks to what we're doing now with 920?
You know, go ahead, Dennis.
Hell, I don't know.
I don't either. Really, you know, we were starved to death. The only time we were busy was in the spring of the year, in the fall of the year, hauling grain and fertilizer. And I don't know how it happened. I think Bruce he got us an account down in Enos, Texas, Elk Roofing. And we started hauling roofing granules out of 3M to Elk Enos. And we done that for years. And then a lot of time in the winter, we would go to Enos, and then we would deadhead to Carlsbad, New Mexico, and pick up potash, bring the fertilizer back. And that kind of got us through the slow time.
Speaking of
Yeah,
Carlsbad, I've heard rumor that you've been to Carlsbad
Oh yeah, yeah,
in a truck.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh, I think I was still working at BB. I might have come down here, but had John Hester, if he wanted off or something, he'd let me drive his truck. Roy Hart let me drive a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can understand driving a little bit, but to Carlsbad, New Mexico?
yeah, that's just what business thing. We'd haul granules to Enos and then deadhead out to Carlsbad, get a load of potash. Yeah. I did pretty good going to Carlsbad, and Benny. I was working for Benny again, driving Roy Hart's truck, and I never will forget that. He sent me to Fulton, Missouri, with a load of some kind of rock,
Mm-hmm.
and I drove. Been a few times out to Carlsbad, but I had never been really in the hills or anything, and I can't remember John Hester. There was probably 6 of us.
The
going
Watkins
out there.
boys.
Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we got out there, and they all, one of those big hills on Highway 65, they got out and inspecting their brakes and all that, and I didn't even know what to do. So I just kind of got down on my knees and said a little prayer and got back in the truck. Them guys thought I was really a professional truck driver, but I really was.
You had faked it this
I
long.
faked it. And it got real quick on that trip.
The faking was over,
And it was raining, and
and they didn't have any more Jake brakes back in.
oh, well,
Standing on the brakes.
yeah, they could tell I was pretty nervous, and they give me some guidance. And we got through it, and we got up there. And John Hester, he just zip around them corners and up and down, and I was trying to keep up with them. And then we got where we were going, and then I got in a sleeper, and I laid down there, and something went real bad, terribly wrong, and I just barely jumped out of the truck, and I puked midair.
What went wrong?
I think it was my nerves.
He was
I'm not
shell-shocked.
sure, but I think it was my nerves. And then I called Benny. They wanted me to call in to see what we were going to do next. And he said, go up here and get a load of corn.
Stanberry.
Stanberry, go to Stanberry and get a load of corn. I was like, I don't want a load.
You ready to come back
I
home?
was ready to come back. Anyway, we went up there and got it and made it back.
Because
Always had a good bunch of drivers back then. I mean, everybody was taking care of each other. And
Yeah, we did.
they even doctored on me, got me some Advils or something.
helping you get through it.
Yep.
Did you drive much after that?
A time or two, but
Realized maybe the office is. Maybe let's get back to the office.
Jeremy, we got back to the growing part. We just kept working, and we got the roofing granules, and then ended up getting a few more, and that got us out a little further, and we kept branching out.
I guess Tannenbaum came into play there.
Tannenbaum, yeah, we got to hauling some scrap, and it, we when we were going back and forth to Carlsbad, a guy called me by the name of Manley Denton, and he said, "Hey, you want some loads going from Dallas out toward Carlsbad?" I said, yeah, I sure do. So he gave me a few loads, and every now and then he'd call and give me a load and load. And old Manley was pretty sharp. He had been out in the world, and me and old Mac, we hadn't been out much. We told old Manley.
You done recruited Mac at this point. You needed
Mac
some help.
was working, by that time. So anyway, we got to load some stuff, and I told Manley, I said, Manley, why don't you come to work for us? No, you can't pay me enough. It's okay. So we were loading some loads, but we would bill
Bledsoe?
no, that's another company. I can't remember who we billed, but anyway, they filed bankruptcy. So I called Manley, and that conversation didn't go real good. And so we didn't hear anything out of Manley for, I don't know, a couple of years.
Is that when you said you was going to whip his ass?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I had never seen him then.
Right.
So a couple of years goes by, and old Manley calls. He said, hey, I see you got trucks down here in Alabama. I said, yep. I said, you in Alabama? Yeah, he worked for a company called Bledsoe. He said, you want some loads going here or there? I said, yeah, but I want my money. Oh, you'll get your money. So anyway, we did, and we did get our money. And then out of the blue, in fact, me and Dennis was riding horses one night, and he called, and he said, I'm ready to come work for you. So, make a long story short, he came, and it was really a huge asset to us because Manley, he knew a lot of different customers all over, and Manley was good at sales. And I always thought I was better at operations than I was sales, so it made a pretty good team there. But as we got more freight, then we kept hiring a few more trucks, and it just kind of where we got to.
Yeah.
And then we got to add other employees, and it's just been good.
Yeah, just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I hired you. It went downhill.
Yeah. Been going that way for 30 years now.
It's been 30?
It will be this December.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Don't seem like it.
No, it does not seem like it. It doesn't. It's been something else to see what it's done and how it grows. But how did the other side of it, Dennis? I mean, I know both of you involved, but the more fertilizer, the ports, the grain, that stuff's expanded greatly too.
Jeremy, it's just been, I guess opportunistic.
Yeah.
Places come up for sale that we thought was good logistically, and we've been able to buy, and we've built a few over the years, and it's kind of like the trucking, just small steps, and most of them's worked out.
Yeah. Did we, Dennis, when we built a deal up at Marlton, and then we bought the Dardanelle deal, is that right?
Yes.
And then we ended up buying the Crothersville thing.
Yeah, we bought Crothersville and was building Shreveport at the same time.
That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot about building Shreveport, yeah. And then we ended up getting a Pendleton deal. And then I guess from there we ended up buying Jantran.
Yeah, that was Jantran acquisition was a big deal
Yeah.
for us.
That's a big step, wasn't it?
Yeah. that was a pretty big step.
That was betting the farm.
Well, I wouldn't
But that
not
was
quite
it.
betting the farm, but
That was kind of a maybe not as equal to your dad buying this 20 acres down here. I mean, that's a big step. Well, buying Jantrans was no. I mean, that's a big step for you to make.
yeah, but we were in a little better shape by then.
Right.
To do something, so it wasn't quite as. I don't feel like it was quite the same as the leap Dad took.
That was a
Especially-
big leap.
Yeah,
Especially when you sold your house and
Right.
you realized how big a leap
figured
that
out
was.
how big a leap it was.
Yeah. Right. That's a big deal. I can remember, when I started, Bruce was, I don't know, he'd come in, once a month, pretty regular, but he had the houseboat. And out here, a lot of times, and then he would take it down to Florida. I mean, he would ride the river all the way down to the Gulf, right?
Yeah, he lived on that for several years.
Long time, yeah.
I mean, that was pretty intriguing, something, you don't see every day. I remember I went on it once or twice, while they had it parked out here at the dock, and it was pretty special, pretty neat to watch.
Bruce loved being on the water.
Yeah.
He loved the water.
I remember you telling me the one story about him actually on the barge that had.
The barge broke away
off.
with. Yeah, we was loading with.
Yeah.
We unhooked it. He got away from us. He floating off. It is pretty dark. And Bruce smoked a lot of cigarettes. And all you can see is that red deal on that cigarette out there on that barge.
He's floating away.
Floating away. And at that time we didn't have a boat here. We didn't own a boat that stayed here, so we had to call the port. They had a boat to come fetch our barge and bring you back up to the dock.
I guess it wasn't too long after that he started shopping for the fleet boat.
Yep.
That's when we
Yeah.
bought the Duke after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's the story of it being family owned is something that you just don't hear every day, especially when you go 3 generations now. Bruce and Dennis, and now Justin's taking a bigger role. I mean, a lot of companies, people screw that up real easy if you're not careful. So I mean, to me, I think Bruce just instilled some really good qualities and standards of what this place is, which you guys have passed on down to, Manley and me and everybody else, and we keep trying to pass them down so we can continue this thing going for the long haul.
We've been awful fortunate, Jerry, but we got so many good people, contractors, the employees. It's we're just very fortunate as a company to have so many good people, and it seems like good people attract good people, and we've just been very blessed.
Well, and
Not so much Dad, but Benny and I have always had a rule that, we just hire, everybody we hire needs to be smarter than we are. And we've been very, very lucky at that.
We didn't have to go very far.
boys, I was fixing to
just
jump
about
on
get
that
them
one.
anywhere.
Oh yeah, that wasn't hard, was it?
No, that wasn't a hard job.
Yeah. Well, that's good to go by, because smarter people got better ideas and doing things right. And
Oh, yeah.
to me, growing slow, there's not just been hey, we're going to do whatever it takes to grow this thing to be a mega business, and that's not ever been the case around here. It's always just little bites, like you said, a little bit at a time, what fits us, because I know I have come in your office, well, both of y'all's, many a times with some stupid ideas, and I get shot down. At the time, they were brilliant, but, I get shot down at them because I'm, wanting to make this thing even better and go
You want
different.
it all right now.
Yeah, wanted it all right now, and it takes a while to see that's not the smartest thing to do. So, little by little, I think is definitely worked for us. Now, what y'all do when you're not working?
Next question.
Well, you both got cows, right?
Yeah.
In the cow business.
Yeah. There again, that shows we ain't very smart. I'm pretty dumb. Dennis is real dumb. He's got a lot of cows.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, of course, Dennis is just getting into it, but of course, our kids are grown and they've got kids, and all of the grandkids and the kids at one time rodeoed, and then the grandkids have. Now they've all grown out of that, but we'd chase them all over the country, watching them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got, like I say, we both got cows, and that keeps you pretty busy.
And you still live in the original house your daddy lived in?
I live in the house that my daddy built in 1951. And now we remodeled a little bit. We got indoor plumbing now.
That's nice. That's helpful. Been out there a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things people probably don't know, Dennis. You got your pilot license.
Right.
Fly a little bit.
Yeah.
Land a helicopter in any more fields that you didn't know.
Hadn't in a while.
Sorry, I just remember that you telling me that story.
Yeah, Dennis called me one night. He was going home and something happened. You landed in the field up there around Gravel Ridge. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, weather got bad on me.
Yeah, that's right. But you didn't know where you were.
Not exactly.
So I come got you. Or
that man took me home.
That's right. That man took you home, and I come got you next day.
Yeah.
And we got to looking for the helicopter and couldn't find it.
Right.
Whoops.
Oops.
We did find it.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to happen. Well, we can continue this another time maybe and see, but because I'd like to later on get into even more of the recent stuff, that we've been expanding and just how things have been going here in the last 10 years, that we've really keeping our standards, keeping the people that we've had and getting more, but we're still growing little by little. So, I mean, it's, sitting here, I was really wanting to get more of what you guys have told us about the early parts of Bruce and you guys starting working for the company and still working for the company after 45 years, something like that. Y'all been here?
I'm working on 47.
47. I mean, and you worked
42
full time. Yeah. I mean,
Well, you wasn't doing much part.
Huh?
You wasn't doing a whole lot prior to that. You wasn't digging them railroad tracks out there for me.
No, I wasn't. You pick and clean them tracks out, a mile of them. I did it one day, and I made about 10 feet.
said enough's enough.
I would be this week.
So did you ever get your revenge on on him, Dennis? I mean,
I don't think so.
So, them old elevator legs, they're about what are they, Dennis? 90 foot tall?
Yeah,
Something
like that.
Anyway, they'd break down. I'd get old Dennis climb up there, tell him what to do to fix it, He'd always say, boy, Benny, he's smart. He knows how to do that stuff up. I'd never even been up there. And I wasn't going. I'd seen him up there.
you found one that would go.
Old Dennis, he'd go. So one time we was up there in the office. We used to wrestle a lot.
You and him?
Oh, yeah, a lot. And this is one time Bruce kind of got a little aggravated at us. So we were up there in that old scale house where they sample grain, and we got to wrestling. And I gave him a little push, and it fell back in that glass door and broke it. Well, about that time, Bruce come in. And you could tell when Bruce was mad because he had that cigarette, and it'd be red. It'd start here, and he'd just going up that cigarette. It burned all the way to the filter.
One sitting right there.
Yeah.
So, hey, there you have it. Dennis Oakley, Benny Weatherford, sitting down with me, talking about the early days of Bruce Oakley, and what just a couple of great guys to get. I mean, you sit down there and you listen to them, and you just get that feeling of, man, no wonder this company is successful and has done what it's done. And I appreciate everybody listening to the podcast every week, man. We try to bring you some good stuff every Wednesday, and we got some good stuff coming at you. We, like I said, we got some of our owner-operators. That's what we get most requests for, is listening to our success stories with our owner-operators, and we got some of that coming for you in the weeks ahead. So stay with us and check us out every Wednesday. We appreciate everybody listening. Thanks.